and kick it off. Hey guys, I got another amazing event for you here tonight. I only thought I was getting one guest, Alan, and then somebody else jumps in, which I'm super excited about, and I appreciate both of you visiting us tonight. So, we are going to talk about this one, guys. Oop, hold on. There we go. And Alan, go ahead and show your newest. There you go. High proof. Man, that thing is getting some killer reviews online. And as most high proofs right now, I mean, they're just killing it. So, Jimmy, Alan, thank you for joining me. I'll let you pronounce the name of the brand because I know I'll butcher it up. Oh,
Entremanos.
Así es mío.
Yeah, there
Entremanos.
you go.
Sí. Entremanos.
So what's the meaning behind the
Let's
name?
say it.
Okay, entremanos means between hands.
Between hands. Okay.
Yes.
And what was the inspiration behind that?
Okay, so in between hands, as you know, it's when you harvest the piña, you harvest the agave, you put it in the oven, you mill it, you ferment it, you distill it, you bottle it. Everything has to be between hands. There's no way a single hand can do this by itself. So, and also at the end, in order to cheer, you cannot toast only by one hand. It has to be between hands, between someone else. So that's why the name Entremanos. This needs to be done entre manos, between hands.
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get a couple more things done, a little bit more homework done, and then I'll be fully engaged.
Don't worry.
So, Alan, what do you do for the company?
Well, I'm the COO, charge of operations. I actually started as the handy boy. I was doing whatever they were asking me. I was a designer, furniture designer before getting to the tequila business almost 4 years ago, and then came up with the amazing team of Entremanos. But before that, I was helping Jan, who is now the CEO and the co-founder of Entremanos. I was helping him designing bottles to help small brands like mezcal or tequila brands to get exported. So it was to rebrand the whole thing, or maybe getting them new bottles, new corks, labels, and to do some little details to the bottle so it could just be dressed up better for the American market. So eventually there was an opportunity to start Entremanos, and he called me. It's like the only guy that knows how to do materials and labels and anything about tequila is you. So you come join as a marketing director, but that was just the words they use because they didn't know what was my full position, and eventually started evolving to something different. And that was they call me the knight of the rope because it took me 6 months to get it done. The rope that's tied around, so they used to call me the knight of the rope. And then I start helping on the production side. Not into the distillation. That's Jimmy's job, 100%. I'm only part of whatever comes before this first drop and after the last drop. There's where my job starts and ends. So I get everything: the bottle, the corks, the shipment, the boxes, customs. Get the product ready on the shelf. After the product hits the shelf, that's where my job ends. Sometimes because, a small company, you had to do almost everything. I just flew back in from Los Angeles yesterday because I had to do the presentation of Entremanos. You imagine why the production boy is and doing sales. That's how a small company runs. So I usually do whatever they ask me and whatever I can put my hands on. I usually tend to help and solve. I'm an engineer, so that's basically my nature. Always try to see if I could fix something, I could make it better. So that's basically what I do.
So how long did it take you to come up with this wrap on the bottle?
So,
And how many bottles did you have to drink to get to a final product?
Nothing like that. But no, it took me 6 months just to figure out what rope to use. And after I found out the rope, I was like, okay, let's do it by hand. So I started doing it by hand, and I timed myself, and I was like, okay, this is going to take me around 9 minutes per bottle to do by hand. I need an army to do this in order to release the first batch was 6,000 bottles. I was like, I did my count, and I was like, okay, there's not enough time in the world that I can finish this on time. So I started designing a machine, more like a lathe. So I worked with the lathes a lot when I was in university. I loved the mechanism, how it works. So for me, it was simple. Okay, so just grab the bottle and turn it around, and you could put the rope around. So I designed this. I went to a junkyard, or how you call it?
Junkyard.
Junkyard, and I got a DC motor, which was spinning at 160 RPM. So I was like, that's a nice speed. I got a control, and then I just put it on a table, so it worked. I designed a chuck as a lead. I don't know if you've seen it on the videos on Instagram. There's the bottle spinning around. That's the thing that it's holding, and it's 3D printed. So I got a printer. I was like, Jan, can we get a 3D printer? Like, what for? Trust me, I need it. So I think it took me like 2 months to build the machine. It was just one. So the first batch, I did it, the 6,000 bottles, I did it by half hand, half with the machine, because I was just not going to make it. Even though the times went from 9 minutes to 3.5 minutes, still it wasn't cutting it at the time that we needed. And then eventually the lot number 2, we did five more machines, because I already had the blueprint. So for me, it was easier to build them again. I welded myself and everything, and it was fun. But I'd say this is the way I like to do things. But sometimes my wife is like, "You're just going over the top. Why are you like? I love this. I love to build things, and I love tequila. So for me, it's a perfect match." So it took me around 8 months.
Yeah, CJ. But before all of this story that Alan is telling you. Everything comes from the company that we hire to design the bottle.
Oh, yes.
It is a company. If you go to movies, the maximum price that you can get is an Oscar, no? The maximum award. And in the case of bottle designing, the awards are called Penta Awards. That's the top where you an award. And the company that has won the most Penta Awards in the history, it is called Sermo. And it's the company that we hire to design the bottle for Entremanos. And what happened is that these guys, they are amazing in what they do. And they sent us 5 different designs for the bottles. And when we saw the 5 designs, we immediately, all of the team decided that the best one was the one with the rope around. No, we saw it and we said, this is amazing. Everybody's going to talk about how beautiful is the bottle. So we tried one really fast. And then we decided a call to these guys to Spain. And we said, hey, we already choose the bottle. It's amazing what you did. Please let us know how are we going to do the rope thing. And there was, that's not my problem. That's yours. Bye-bye. No, you only pay me for creating, not for doing what I created. So it's your problem. Bye-bye, guys. You already pay me. I already gave you the design. Good luck for you. No, they are amazing, but that was a problem for us. That luckily we have Alan in the team, and he found a way to resolve that topic. Because when we saw the bottle, we say, it is this one. It is this one. Everybody's going to talk about this beautiful bottle.
And actually,
you don't even have to know the name of the tequila. All you got to do is say the one with the
rope
around the bottle, and everybody knows which one you're talking about.
Yes,
when we go to the restaurants, when we go to the restaurants, we know that we are there, no? So we try to go with the restaurant where you can find Entremanos, and you say to the waiter, "Hey, can I have an Entremanos?" And sometimes they say, "We don't have it," or "I don't know it," and I say, "Oh, it's the one with the rope." "Oh yeah, let me get it. Let me get it."
Yeah,
I totally see that.
Yeah,
that's it.
Maybe
Actually, the rope, I couldn't get it if it wasn't for Jimmy, because Jimmy, we were at Hacienda de Oros. They have like this beautiful restaurant with a nice view. We were having eating over there, and I was still figuring out which rope to use because I was using organic and natural fibers from agave or from different types of things. So the issue was I was tightening it around, and after a couple of minutes, it would just get loose. So that wasn't not the answer. Then we got something that was more stiff, but it was like really like you could hurt your hands with that one. So we were sitting and I looked at the chair, and Jimmy told me, no, Jimmy looked at the chair like, oh, what about this? And the chair was actually like knitted with this craft paper. I'm like, what is that? And Jimmy, I think that's craft, that's paper. I'm like, no way. And how could I? So I started looking around in the internet and just found out it was a factory in Mexico City that actually produces for the bags.
Bags, yeah.
So they were just selling it by 2 feet. I was like, no, we only sell it by feet. 2 feet is already cut, so you put it on your bags. I like, can you just not cut it and send it like that? Like,
I need like 10,000 kilometers.
Yeah, I like, okay. So they sent me a sample, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. It works like it's a charm, and also it gets wet and it gets dried really fast. It's also is recycled, and I was like, it couldn't be it could be even better than this. So yeah, Jimmy actually was the one who spotted what material to use.
You know, CJ, we were in Spain because the first country where we launched the brand was in Spain because of the connection that we had with that country and the language and looking for a market that wasn't that saturated. So the first country that we launched the brand was in Spain. And it was funny because we went to a really nice, it is an speakeasy in Madrid. And everything has like a sense or something interesting. And then you say, hey, where is the washroom now? And then you have like a big frame. It's just a regular frame. And then you open the frame, and behind the frame is the washrooms, no? But that day, the handler didn't work. So I say, hey, how do I open it? And they say, oh, pull the rope. And then I pull the rope, and that make the mechanism to work to open the door. But when I pull the rope, I say, I know this rope, no? And I look back to the owner, and I told him, where did you get this one? From your bottle.
How funny.
Yeah. You can do many things with this rope.
Yeah. But hey, you never know when it's going to come in handy.
Yeah. Many things to do with this.
Yeah.
Also, it's for flowers. You can count the numbers of moms, of our moms that have these with flowers in the kitchen. My mom, Alan's mom, my wife also. I think that many of our team moms have this one like flower for flowers.
Let's. I'll bring that up to my wife and see how that goes.
Yeah, they say it's too nice to throw it away.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely different than anything else out there, and again, you don't have to know the name of the name of the tequila. Everybody knows it because of the rope, and that just makes it special and unique. You could spot it really quick on a shelf. It's one of a kind, and I enjoy that a lot. So let's talk about the tequila inside the bottle now, because it's amazing. I know I say that a lot, but I mean there's a lot of really good tequilas out there, and with what you got, it's very minerally right off the bat on the nose, but then when you go to get in it, I mean you just got all kinds of stuff going on. Cooked agave, minerality again. You got some plums, you got some fruits, you got some amazing stuff going on. So who did the profile?
Of course,
me.
Jimmy?
Yes.
And how long did it take you to come up with this, or has this been a long working project that you finally, it's okay, now I got tequila, now I need to bottle it and sell it and go from there?
Let me tell you how things were happening. As you know, I am a fifth generation a member from a distillery family. The founder of Tequila Sauza was my great grandfather, Zenobio Sauza. My cousin is Guillermo Erickson Fortaleza. So we have been in the family, in the industry as a family for 5 generations. And I was born between agaves, basically. It is super harmful because all the spines get inside, But I was born between agaves. And I have so many stories about my grandfather is the one that told me the most stories that I know about tequila. And I've been involved in this business in different ways since ever, basically, But formally, I began to work with the Familia Partida, the owners of Hacienda de Oro, like 15 years ago. People were asking me to develop a tequila brand, and I knew them. I made an excellent relationship with them, and right now, the current owners of the distillery, it's 5 brothers. It's the 5 Partida. Diana is the head of the company, but her 4 brothers are also working in the distillery. So they are 5, and they call me the 6th Partida. They call me the 6th Partida because they consider me as a part of the family. I feel like a part of the family, the Partida. I say that is mine, even though it is not mine, because what they do is like, Jimmy, here is your key. This is your distillery. Do whatever you want. And that's just amazing because that gives me to develop for any brand whatever I want and treat the distillery as mine, even though it is not mine. So what I want to tell you with this is the experience that I have working with the Familia Partida. I know that distillery, Hacienda de Oro, I know it perfectly. I know what are the strengths or weaknesses that we have in the process of production, what are the things that really matters, what are things are not that important. So in this, I have developed a few brands there, but I can tell you that the one that really gave me the opportunity to know absolutely everything on the treatment of agave for the process of production was Tequila Suave. The founder of Tequila Suave, a good friend of mine, Cesar Vitari, when he got the brand and got to me and told me, Jimmy, I want to make this brand successful, so please do whatever you want, but that thing that you do needs to be something that makes you proud. That was his own. Do whatever you want, but feel proud about what you do, and that's what I did. I was experimenting. Sometimes I was experimenting. Maybe Cesar didn't realize that because I was a little bit nervous on, oh my God, I hope that I can do something well with this. And luckily for me, the result was always great. So that's how I graduated from that distillery, from Hacienda de Oro, understanding completely the full process of production. So by the time that Entremanos team got to me, they told me, Jimmy, we just want one tequila. Which expression do you think is the most important? Which percentage of alcohol do you think? I already had in mind what I wanted to do with the brand because everything was focused on excellence. And when you're focusing on excellence, it's very easy to design a profile that can match that because sometimes excellence doesn't require anything new. It's like you only need to repeat the formula, right? Have you seen Rolex watches that are digital? I haven't. There are. I don't know.
No.
But as far as I know, the Rolex watches are still made like the analog, right?
Yeah.
Not digital. And that's a definition of excellence. So for me, making a great tequila was just about giving all the knowledge and experience that I have applied to an excellent tequila, an excellent brand, and an excellent experience that they wanted to share to the consumer. I will focus on 2 main things that we do with the brand that are the one that give the most of the personality for Entremanos. The first one, it's about the cooking. We have an autoclave. We have seen people that, we make it in an autoclave. then it's going to be bad, right? Well, the first time that they tell us that it's going to be bad is when they see the bottle. You have no idea how many people say, oh, you have such a beautiful bottle. The tequila must be awful. So we have heard that many, many times. And the truth is that we're used to that. And also when they say, oh, you have an autoclave. It's sad. Well, I thought it was going to be good, but it's an autoclave. And they say, okay, tell me why it is not good. And 99.99% of the time, nobody has an answer why an autoclave it's not good, or is not better, or is not as good as a brick oven, right? So basically, what I did with this specific brand was giving a special treatment to the agave inside of the autoclave to behave as much as possible as a brick oven. And how I do it is I do the regular cooking of the agave inside of the autoclave for 10 hours. And the usual step in this process is I do the cooking with the steam for 10 hours. And as soon as you finish the cooking, then you open the autoclave to let cool down the agave as fast as possible to begin the extraction of the juice. What we're doing.
Uh-oh. Alan, did he lock up? Oh, no. Hold on, guys. Hopefully we can get
a better word. And then somebody, it was like a small audience, and one of the audience...
Regresaste.
Oh, sorry.
Te fuiste. You were gone by the time you were saying that after you opened the
autoclave. Yeah. You locked up.
Yeah.
But can you go back?
Usually, you finish the steaming, and then you open the autoclave for 6 hours to cool it down as fast as possible to do the extraction. But what we do is that we finish the steaming and we let it. We keep it closed. And I went on a speech about this. I think it was in no, I am lying. I don't remember where working about this. Somebody was on a small audience. Somebody from the audience says, "Oh, so you are using the residual heat?" And I say, "Wow, what a lovely terminology." Yeah, that's exactly what we are doing. We're using the residual heat. No, we finish the steaming. We don't open the autoclave. We keep it closed for 48 hours. That implies that every single batch that we have done in the distillery have begun on a Friday for one single reason. Ileana don't let me to keep the autoclave closed on a Tuesday or in a Wednesday. She's are you crazy? Need to produce tequila. We cannot keep the autoclave closed. And then, okay, Ileana, it's okay if I keep it closed Saturday and Sunday. And then she says, okay, yeah, Saturday and Sunday I'm not making tequila. So yeah, go ahead, no? So every batch that we produce is on a Friday on the cooking process to keep the autoclave closed for 48 hours, Saturday, Sunday, and then we open it on Monday at 6 a.m. in the morning to do the extraction. What this creates is a larger concentration for furfura, no? And furfural and all the families around the furfurals, what they're going to give you is this part of smokiness, this part of roast, this part of sometimes it can be considered as some sweet elements, these coffee beans, this little bit of smoke, not like a mezcal, but this little bit of smoke, these parts of roast agave, more than cooked agave, like a little roast agave, all those aromas that you can feel in the nose, but especially in the aftertaste, are because of the concentration that we are creating of furfural during the cooking process. And that nobody else is doing in the distillery. And so far, I don't know any other brand that is doing the same. No, some of them, they say that they give a slow cooling down. It's not a 48 hours cooling down, which the one that we are doing with Entremanos. So the personality can come part in an important part from the cooking process in an autoclave. It's not a brick oven, but we are giving it a treatment pretty much like that. And the other part, which is super important for us, is the fermentation. The fermentation is being done in stainless steel tanks. They are open. There are 22,000 liters, and we let the natural yeast to enrich the process of production. We're not adding any kind of yeast. The distillery has been in that place for 25 years. The surroundings of the distillery are just amazing. No, we don't have anything that can contaminate the process. If you see just in front of us, we have an agave field. Next to us, on the right, we have another distillery, which is Las Americas.
Then there's a new one. They just opened a new one next to it, around to the left.
And Las Americas is like 100 meters away from us. Behind us is a couple of houses. Then just across a few blocks in front of us, we have the Cerro de Amatitán, which is a beautiful view, the one that we have there.
Scene.
Yeah. So the surroundings of the distillery are perfect. There's no contamination of anything that can contaminate our batch in the process. So basically, all what we're doing in the fermentation process is enriched by the natural yeast surrounding the conditions we are making the tequila. There is a very nice analysis that was made by Herradura, because the larger and the most famous neighbor that we have in Amatitan is Herradura, and they did an analysis like 25, 30 years ago, because they used to have also natural spontaneous fermentation, and they say, okay, what's the origin of my yeast in this kind of process that I am doing in the distillery? And considering that they are just in front of us on the right side of the road, we're on the left side, they're on the right side of the road. What they conclude is that the main source for natural yeast is mainly three different parts. The first one, and the most important one, it is coming from the mill. When you are doing the extraction of the juice from the agave, you finish the day, and this guy clean up the machinery and take the culture and everything, and they wash out. But it's not like they are cleaning up like if there was a 3 Michelin star restaurant, right? No, right. It's not like they're going to completely clean inside of the machinery and everything. So inside in the mill, you will have some fibers, and you also will have some sugars waiting for the next day when you re-begin the process of extraction, and you will create and multiplicate a yeast in the mill. So next day at 6 a.m. in the morning, when you are taking more agave out of the autoclave, and you re-begin the process of extraction, all of these yeast will get inside of the liquid, and those are going to be part of the yeast that will begin the process of fermentation in your fermentation tanks. So that is one of the main sources. The other one is the same fermentation tank, because what we're doing is that when we are during the week, we empty one fermentation tank, going to the still, and we are refilling this tank to continue the fermentation. And obviously, there is an impregnation of yeast surrounding the inside part of the walls of the fermentation tank. So that's the second place where you get yeast for your fermentation process. And the third one, it's a really nice one. It's my favorite. It's because of the Drosophila melanogaster. Have you heard about Drosophila melanogaster?
No, I have not.
Okay, it sounds like a sexual disease, but it is not. No. Yeah, Drosophila melanogaster is the fruit fly. And what happened is that they were analyzing in the distillery in Herradura during this analysis. They were checking what kind of yeast they have inside of the process of production, and they realized that during the fermentation they have yeast that are different from in the fermentation tanks and in the mill. So something called a displacement vector. Right. That means that the yeast are moving somewhere else, and they found that the displacement vector was the Drosophila melanogaster, the fruit fly, because this fruit fly, maybe it's in a home next to it, or it's in a field next to the distillery where there is fruits that fall from a tree, or maybe there are pineapples, or there is some other ripe fruits or bananas or anything, and this fruit fly is it's getting all the yeast from these fruits sticking to the body, and then they are flying to the distillery and taking yeast that were part of different processes in fruits or other similar conditions, taking this yeast and depositing them inside of the fermentation tank. So they are enriching the process of fermentation with the surroundings of the distillery. And it's amazing just to think. I didn't this story. I didn't make it up. It was made by Herradura, and then analysis that explained this. And for me, it's just amazing thinking how the enrichment of the fermentation process can be done because of that. No, so these are the two main things that I can say that give the personality to our tequila. Obviously, we super take care of the quality of the agave. The extraction is in a mill. Well, the water that we are using for the extraction, the dilution during the extraction, it comes from a deep well that we have right in the distillery. It's 140 meters inside of the distillery, and this is from the water.
Oh no!
Always on the best part. That's for the next episode. Yeah. It comes from the.
Oh no, he lost it.
Okay,
so
it comes from the deep well water from the distillery, 140 minutes into the tank. It's the same water, the rainwater from the mountain of Amatitan, El Cerro de Amatitan. So inside of the mountain, there's gonna be a natural water source. So that's where we get it. Maybe he's gonna get. Let me check if he could get in again. He could use the same link, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, he's getting my messages. That means he got Wi-Fi. So I don't know what happened. But yeah, just not to we'll wait for him. But I can keep telling you about that. I'll go into the part of putting the bottle together, which is also a really good part of it. He's telling me that he has a really slow internet right now in his home. He lives in a really congested area, so maybe that's it. Everything is made by hand. The bottle is recycled. The label is made of agave fibers, and also the paper, as I mentioned, recycled. The cork, it's recycled, but more like recuperado, which means when you do a wine bottle and you put the cork, you'll see it comes from alcornoque, the type of tree. So they're gonna like punch the holes like a cookie puncher for the cookie dough. So the corners that are not just, you cannot use them, we take that part, we mill them again, and then we put it together. Jimmy, you're back.
Did you miss me?
Yes, we did. we told everybody it was going to be continued.
Sorry, guys. It's to give a little bit of emotion. Yeah, so I was telling about the water that we're using. Did you finish the explanation about the water, Alan?
Yes, but you can finish it better because it's always a better explanation.
Yeah,
when you do it.
Water that we're using is coming from this deep well, coming from the Amatitan, El Cerro de Amatitan, which is just in front. All the raining, it's falling through the hills of the Cerro de Amatitan, and they go to the underground, and that's how we get the water. And that water is important in the fermentation process because, the minerality will be used by the yeast in the fermentation process. But that yeast, that minerality, it's not going to end up in our glass of tequila because the minerals are so heavy that they won't pass through the distillation process. So where do we get our minerality? It's mainly because the same water that we're using at the end for the dilution of the tequila. That's where real minerality is where we are getting in our tequilas when producing in Hacienda de Oro. And the source of water that it's super important. It's super help us in the fermentation, and also help us with the minerality in the final product.
Okay. Now, I got to get some questions in here because these are starting to roll up. And we've actually got some good ones here. So you've talked about, I'm going to get one in of my own, and then I'm going to go to Jeff's questions. So typically, when most distilleries, do you know how often they generally use the autoclave in the cooking process? Because 10 hours seems like a lot for an autoclave for most brands that I'm aware of.
That would depend on the pressure and the heat.
Yes.
Yeah. As Alan said, everything is related on pressure. The higher is the pressure, the shorter is the time that you will cook the agave. In our case, we take like 0.3 less in a pressure than the standard for the autoclave, and that requires more time. Is what we were talking a few minutes ago, and on how do we use the autoclave. You cannot say an autoclave is bad if you don't understand how you can manipulate an autoclave. Actually, it was a super interesting conversation that I had with Guillermo. Guillermo, my cousin, in La Fortaleza. I visited him like 2 months ago, and we were talking about different topics. And I mentioned about this. People think about the autoclave. It is bad compared to the brick oven, but what we do is that we manipulate the pressure. And he said it because he wanted to say it. Oh, come on. If you put no pressure inside of the autoclave, you can do exactly the same that I am doing in a brick oven. And he said, not me. If I eliminate completely the pressure, then I will need 24, 28, 32 hours to do the cooking process because I am reducing the pressure. So when we are talking about 10 hours in our autoclave, it's because the pressure is 0.3 lower than the recommendation for the regular operation in the autoclave.
Okay. All right. Somebody's asking, or Jeff's asking, do you use copper stills?
No.
Copper coil.
Yeah. That's for getting the heat inside of the boiler. It's a copper coil, but we have heads. The heads are copper. Actually, where you need the copper is not in the boiler. Where you need it is in the upper parts, because
right.
The effect of the copper will be directly on the steam, not on the liquid. So in the boiler, the boiler and the head is all stainless steel, but the top of the head has the copper that we need to remove all of these phosphoric elements that can affect the final product. So that's the only part that we have with copper. The rest of it is stainless steel.
Okay. And then Jeff's on fire here. So we know this one here is 40 proof. But yet you have another gem that just came out, I'm going to say in the last week or two.
It's actually just arrived in Laredo. Should be heading to the markets next week, probably, or 2 weeks from now, depending on the distributor and how he fast can move it around. But yeah, this is 100 proof, but it was not watered down.
So it's still strength.
It's technically still strength, yes. But it was not. We do not water it down. The low. It was originally at 54, lot 5, and lot 4 was at 53.4. So it's not about we put water into it to make it lower. It was a natural evaporation, which actually helps a little bit because when you water down a lot of aromas, even though it's just a little, it's just not that much of a water that you need. But this is a natural evaporation, which is really smooth. I wish you could have a bottle right now. I don't know. I just missed out. I could send you something, a sample or something, but I was just too busy doing it last week. So I'll get you one so you can see the difference between a regular high proof and it's high proof because Jimmy didn't want me to put still strength. Technically, it's a still strength, but Jimmy was like, I don't want. No product of mine will say still strength if it's lower than 52 because people will believe I'm distilling colas, and that's not. I don't want to do that. So okay, I'll change the label. I'll put a high proof.
CJ. Let me tell you the story to complete the story about Alan. No, he said it just right. And when you basically the standard that I have for the tequilas in the distillery, it's 54, 53. That's the standard, no? And if you go to 50, 49, 48, that's where you are using tails. And I am not my cousin yet. no? But you know that Guillermo can do a still strength 46%, and it's amazing. And nobody is questioning. Oh my God, you are using so much tails. No, it's Guillermo, and everybody knows that my cousin is going to make great tequila. Doesn't matter how he does it or what he does. So he is bulletproof now, and he can do a 46 still strong. I cannot do it yet. No, I am not bulletproof yet. I need to give time to the people to confirm that I also know how to make good tequila. And what I said to Alan, Alan, if you say that tequila high proof is 50%, people is going to ask, oh, is not that too much of tails? And considering that the rule, or not the rule, but the main intention that we have with the tequila is finishing at 53, 54%, I say to Alan, let's go with high proof to do not give many explanation to the majority of the people that we take the tequila. But something that didn't tell you, Alan, and it is important to mention to complete what he already said, is that what happened is we're on a small brand, no? And yeah. We were making a super small brand. And when we were making the batches, we don't know how much are we going to sell, and we don't know how fast we are going to sell. So what happened specifically with batch 4 is that we had an idea on how many bottles we were be selling in the US and in Mexico, and we prepared maybe more tequila than the one that we really needed. So that batch of tequila was at 53.5% at the beginning, something like that. And what happened is that that tequila, it was finished in a tank, and it spent the full spring and the full summer.
Year and a half, yes. It was a year and a half. It was last year's, February of last year, lot number 4.
So it was 1 year and a half in a tank that it was not completely full. So there was a lot of evaporation from the alcohol. What happened is that our 53.5% of alcohol evaporated. And after 1 year and a half, we checked it, and it was 48.
49.8.
So what we had to do was to compensate with a batch with a higher percentage of alcohol to do the mixing and to have the final 50% of alcohol. So that's the story behind this high proof, that it got evaporated naturally after 1 year and a half in a tank, in a closed tank, because we had it and we didn't move it as fast as we were expecting. And that's how we got this concentrated tequila. After all, what you get is a concentration. It's like a reduction. If you are talking about cooking, it's like a reduction. You are losing alcohol, but all the other ingredients that are not going away are getting more concentrated inside of the same volume of tequila, but with a lower quantity of alcohol. So when you taste it, you feel this richness because everything is concentrated. It's a reduction. It's a natural reduction from the original tequila that we had.
And also lot 5.
There's still a bunch of that lot 4 out there?
Not really. Actually, what happened is that we were really cautious about that. Like we didn't know how to start in the US, and we knew that we had to start. So we did the whole batch. We thought like, okay, we just do the whole batch, because usually batches are 6,000 bottles. So we decided just to send 3 pallets, which is like 1,800 bottles. So we sent them, and it took so long for distributors to sign in, because we were a new brand and everything. So by the time that we decided that we were going to send more, we already done more for Mexico, because we thought like, okay, for the US it's going to be batch 4. And then it took us almost 6 months to start getting everything done with the permits and everything. That was an issue that we did. It was small brand, first time going to the US. We didn't know how long it was going to take to get us. Also, we didn't have the rights of the name until January of this year. So that was an issue. We did the batch on February, because last year. What's that? Oh, Hacienda de Oro, not 1522.
Our house. It's our house.
Yes. So it was a mistake of us, because we were naive. We thought it was going to be simple. In Mexico, it's like just register. It took you maybe 2 weeks, and that's it. So because of that, then the product that we have for Mexico, which was batch 3, we already ran out. So by the time we were already selling in the US, we had lot number 4, and also the agave price was really, really high when we did lot number 4, and then we did lot number 5. Of course, the price of agave dropped and everything, so we decided to make a little more. But that was actually my first mistake because I forgot we had lot number 4. So we had lot number 4, just and then I just made lot number 5, and we have way too much. It's way too much for our production capacity. Like Jimmy said, we thought we were gonna sell more. Yeah, we thought we were gonna sell lot number 4 already, but past a year and we didn't got any permits for the U.S. So yeah, that was how we came up with that. It was too much, but it's actually as a micro brand, it's not that much for big brands. And at the end, we had the decision between, okay, we already have batch 4 and batch 5. Let's do what's going to be the best high proof, because we wanted that really high. So when we came back to the tank and it was 49.8, they were like, oh no. And lot 5 was like supposed to be for the US, and it was going to be the 40 proof. So it was like, okay, we only have like 700 liters for that, but it's not that much. So that's why Jimmy decided to make the blends, and the blends came up something really special because they're so different. The blends, the batch 4 and the batch 5, they're different. One took 9 days to ferment with the lot 5, and lot 4 took 6 days, and different seasons, different weather. So it gave a different profile, but it's still the same idea of the product was there. Like Jimmy always explains, like a hand. Tequila Entremanos is like a hand. It always is different. Each finger is different, but it's from the same hand. You would always recognize it as the same hand. So when we did the blend, they were like, okay, this is a nice balance, and we have enough product, and we've never done a high proof. Let's not just do the whole batches. So we decided to just launch 1,800 bottles, and it's not even hit the shelf, and I'm pretty sure it's doing well because we've received a lot of pre-orders, and so we're happy with that. And we are planning to do more of this, but not as a regular product. It's going to be a special release each year, and that's going to be whatever Jimmy imagines next year for a batch. If maybe he wanted the 55, or he wants us his cousin to do it a 46, a still strength 46. I don't know. Maybe the time will tell. But that's going to be Jimmy's idea, whatever he wants.
I have a couple of ideas for Entremanos, so the next couple of years are already done.
Man, that's awesome. So high proof is going to be kind of a limited annual release?
Yes.
So, guys, if you have a source on it, you better buy it up, because we all know how high proofs are selling out all across, just almost as soon as it comes out. And if you guys don't get your hands on it, it's gone.
Yeah, and also we didn't want it to go like a really high price, because our distributors were telling us, like, yeah, you can go high because it's a legitimate product and you could sell it over $120. Like, oh no, we are not even hitting the market yet with a regular Blanco. Why should we just go and try to sell? Because it's a trend. Let's just do it a regular price. Some places are retailing at $79.99. Some others at $85 or something. But we encourage them not to go higher than $85, because we know there's a lot of products, like great products. I have a couple here of Bolans and everything. That's a really nice price to have. And I believe that a good tequila shouldn't be that expensive. It just, you don't put that of a fancy bottle. This is a fancy bottle, but we don't want to charge for the bottle. We want to charge for the juice.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm really enjoying it. This bottle may not make it through the night.
Yeah, but it's a nice flower pot for your wife.
Yes. Well, I had to do a lot of work to get you this flower pot. I regretted every decision. No, I didn't. All right. So hold on a second. I need to back some of these comments up. What states are you in? And do you guys have any national distributors that is able to ship it across the United States currently?
Yeah, we sell online through a website called Passion Spirits, and they do 41 states. There's a couple of states they don't do because of something called legislations. I don't know about that. But we also are in California. We sell all across California. We are just actually our product just arrived in New York and New Jersey, also Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Illinois. I actually just got our first PO from Illinois, which is good. Arizona, as I think I just mentioned. We have a meeting tomorrow with a possible distributor in Colorado. It's basically just to sign the papers, and Texas. But as you know, this is the end of the year. Is the busiest time of the year for distributors. So most of them have told us, yes, you can sell the product with our license here, but we're not going to do the work. Just as Series Nemo did with the bottle, it's like, okay, you can do whatever you want. Just do it yourself. I can start selling your product in January, but if you want to sell it right now, you can come to Texas, Arizona, Colorado, and you can do it yourself, and we can ship it to any liquor store or restaurant you want us to do. So we have to put a lot of work this couple of months that are coming, but I know that maybe with the help of a lot of social media and mouth to mouth, I think we could manage to get a couple of sales to be really interested for them, so they can push it a little bit more. You know how it works. They have a lot of brands, and really big brands and really new brands. Like what I've seen from the last year, this year is just a couple of brands. Just an example, Los Lord. It's something I'm amazed with what they've done. Arturo and his wife, they've done an amazing job with the product, and they started the same day as we did. So it's like, okay, we just need some elbow grease to really push this. But yeah, we're trying to push as much as we can, but we're trying to be really transparent, and we need to really focus on our capacities and how big we can go without actually without burning out. And I'm traveling to US, and for me it's hard to travel. I just got married, and I cannot go 2 weeks away and travel to different states and different stores every day and then come back and do a new production. So we have to rest sometimes. And we know eventually things will come around, and we can start seeing our products in more states, not only the ones I mentioned. And hopefully that by next year, we can start visiting a lot of you guys around liquor stores and do some meet and greets, because that's something that we love. Right, Jimmy? Every time we bring Jimmy to a store, we had to really put like a time clock next to him so he can stop talking. Because last time we went to San Francisco Tequila Shop, it took 2 hours just to get from the store to the door of the store to the back of the store where the podcast was going to be recorded. John, the host, he was like, "Don't worry, I have time." And then it was 8 o'clock. I'm like, "Okay, are we gonna do this? Because it's been 2 hours and we haven't started yet." So
DJ, do you know Vicente Fernandez? Do you know who is Vicente Fernandez?
No, I don't. Is he at the San Francisco?
No, Vicente Fernandez he passed away like a couple of years ago. He's one of the most important representatives for the Mexican music. He sings rancheras, no? And he sings rancheras for 50 or 60 years, and he is like top in the ranchera music, right? And what he used to do in his concerts is like he was singing, and every singer says, "Okay, bye-bye, I go," no? And everybody's like, one more, no? One more, and everybody's, "One more, please." So what Vicente Fernandez used to say is like, "Okay, I'm not going, because as long as you keep clapping, I will keep singing." So sometimes Vicente Fernandez concerts were like 5-6 hours because people were still clapping and he was still singing. So I am kind of Vicente Fernandez when I'm talking about tequila. If the people keep asking questions, I keep answer the questions.
So what's it going to take to get you to the Midwest? Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas City, Kansas and Missouri. We have some amazing tequila here in Missouri. And
Missouri is actually Kansas City and Missouri. It's a really nice spot for tequila. The Midwest is actually growing a lot on tequila. We know that since the beginning. We started doing the research for the U.S. And our plan next year is actually to expand to more states, the ones, for example, Tennessee, Missouri, Kansas, Kentucky. We are planning to do that this year. We focus on the big market ones where you could get the brand recognition kind of a bit quicker. But we know next year we're going to be traveling a lot. Hopefully Jimmy has a nice open schedule, because if he's going to be talking about tequila, I'm going to be sure I'm making tequila. So I might not be traveling as much as Jimmy, because there's not going to be enough bottling, because the juice, it's made in 2 weeks, and he can make in 2 weeks the juice for the rest of the year. But I cannot make the bottles in 2 weeks. I can do maybe a batch or 6,000 bottles in 2 weeks, maybe, if I'm really fast. But no, it's not that fast.
So what other projects you guys got coming up? Can we maybe anticipate, a repo coming down the line in 2025?
Oh, that's a great question, CJ. Let me tell you what happened with the brand is since the beginning of the brand, people were saying, what should we do with the brand? Which expression should we take into the market? And there's a story that I'd really like to tell. And it's because the first exportation of tequila was made by Zenobio Sousa, my great-great-grandfather. And what he did is that he came to tequila. He was from Tototlan, and he came to tequila to help his cousin to manage some of the haciendas that his cousin already had there, El General Ramon Corona. So when he was doing his job, he realized that everything was moving around a liquid that was called back then vino mezcal. And he realized all the movement around from vino mezcal. And he, as a businessman, he decided to work with the vino mezcal, and he began to commercialize this product. And having Guadalajara, which has been always the second largest city in the country, not that far away from tequila, he decided to expand the sales not only for tequila or surroundings of tequila, but to Guadalajara city. And then he began to commercialize with the Mexico City, and then he began to commercialize other main cities around tequila. And then he decided to take the tequila to the United States. So in the year of 1873, he did the first exportation of tequila. And there is a document that says exactly the quantity for the exportation that he did, which was 3 barrels and 6 botijas. Botijas is like, I don't know, I'm going to have a problem trying to translate this.
A jug. It's like a jug.
Yeah, like a jug. Thank you, Len. He exported 3 barrels and 3 jugs of tequila. And what happened is that what he realizes when he was working for his cousin in the tequila area was that this vino mezcal was becoming very famous, and it was super enjoyable for the majority of the people. And he knew that it was a product that was so novel that you can drink it and enjoy it super easily. But what the people was really enjoying back then was a tequila blanco. There was no reposado, there was no añejo, there was no extrañejo, there was no joven, there was no cristalinos. It was only tequila blanco. But what happened is that when they took this tequila to other places and the way to transport it was with barrels, the tequila transformed itself during the process of transportation. So basically, the first time that somebody drank tequila in El Paso, Texas, which is the place where he did the first exportation, what they drink, it was an aged expression of the original product, but the original product is really the one that everybody was enjoying so much. So if you considering that the transportation is the one that changed the characteristics of the tequila, but the real intention was not that one, was only transporting the original liquid to the final place, but this would transform the product into something else, then you realize how the tequila reposados or the age expressions have been involved always in the tequila industry, even though it was not the intention. But when you compare it with mezcals, which is something amazing, you can see that tequilas became industrial. All the minds that were back then in the 19th century were thinking about how to grow the business. And how to grow the business means have larger distilleries with more efficient process and doing transportation of liquid to many other places. So the wood in this transportation process was always affecting the final product that you were drinking. That's why the age expressions have been related to the tequila since the tequila became an industrial product. What happened with the mezcals is that the mezcals were not being exported to many places, nor to other cities, was mainly drinking in the small towns surrounding the places of production. And the expression of those places is, as you see today, the mezcals, that 92% of the mezcals that you find in the market are blancos, because the wood is not related to the process of evolution of the tequila, of the mezcals. Right. So, getting this in mind, all of this was part of the conversation when we decided on Entremanos, and we say, you know what is going to happen? We're going to focus on the real thing. We're going to focus on what should how do you say the people that lives in El Paso? The Pasanians, no? The Pasanians. What should the Pasanians, what they should drink back then if the wood didn't transform the product? It should be a tequila blanco. So that's what the real thing, and that was the intention to transport it, but it didn't happen. So that's why we focus in Entremanos to have only the original example of how the product became famous and became as an industrial product. Considering that, we only have blanco, and to be honest, the market is the one that asks to us for the high proof.
And maybe because I'm really, really, really wanted the high proof.
Yes. And right now, I mean, high proofs are so popular in the tequila market, especially here in the States. I don't know how it is down there in Mexico or in other areas.
I just got that one, the tequila, still strong tequileño on the puntas, and it was hard to find here in Guadalajara. It was impossible to find. And I asked, like, how many you got? Like 4. Like, how many you got left? 3 with the ones you just took. I'm like, okay, this is like flying in the U.S. But yes. I've Jimmy once told me, and I've done some type of research on that. Like back in the day, the standard was 50. That was the 50 proof, 50%, 100 proof. That was like the standard. Eventually, it got diluted to maybe to got more into the palate for more people. And also, I have a theory, which is not just a theory. I have this. Maybe because of the aging that the natural aging they had with the barrels when they send the tequila to the Paso, Texas, and to the U.S., that actually helped the U.S. market to acquire the taste for tequila because they were more used to whiskey on aged expressions.
Yes,
and for that was maybe something that they actually related to, because maybe if they tried tequila blanco back then, they would have been like, this is just not just too earthy. This is gin, maybe. But that's a theory of mine. There's nothing to be proven on this, and there's no points to fight, Jimmy. So take out the book. You don't need that.
Keep talking, Alan. Keep talking. I need to find information. I don't know the page. Yeah. Keep talking.
So here, let me get a couple of questions out of the way because the crowd's active tonight for some reason. Where's the distillery located at?
It's in Amatitan. Amatitan it's the town just before, if you're going from Guadalajara to Tequila, it's just 10 minutes before you get to Tequila. It's a beautiful city. It's actually, if Jimmy doesn't prove me wrong, but that's what he had mentioned before, it's where originally the first Vino Mezcal was actually acknowledged. It's the invention of tequila has to be more. There's really a lot of stories, but the first acknowledgement of the first distilleries were in Amatitan, and there's still a couple of them you could visit today with the wells where they used to ferment. It was like brick rock type of wells where they're fermenting the vino mezcal back then. So yeah, Jimmy can prove whatever I said. If it was wrong, he would just mention it. And
So
No, let me
before you
just
go on, Jimmy, just hold on a second. Sorry, bud. I got to get this out of my way. So is it between Cascawin and Tequila?
yeah, so after
Yes,
Arenal,
exactly.
which is Cascawin, then you get Amatitan, where Herradura is like the most.
When you're
famous one.
driving, you have Cascawin, which is Arenal. Immediately the next town is Amatitan, and immediately the next town is Tequila. So it's Cascawin, then it's us, and then is Fortaleza or
Awesome.
Arete. Arete.
I'll see you guys in February.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Before I answer to Alan, look at this.
That's Jimmy. Always.
This is in a mirror.
That's why I'm afraid of always like saying something historically, because Jimmy's there always to prove me wrong or something like that.
No. This is about the first exportation. Is August the 7th of 1873, and the transporter was Bañuelos. The original place, person in charge is Zenobio Sousa, and what they are doing is transporting vino mezcal. Can you read there? What they are transporting is vino mezcal. They have 3 barrels and 6 botijas to New Mexico, El Paso, New Mexico. So this is the original document that says it was the first exportation to the United States by Zenobio. That CJ, you look more like his great grandson than me. Look at the beard. Oh yeah. Look at you look more like the great son than me.
Actually, CJ stands for Zenobio Jr.
Oh yeah, that's right. Wow. Oh, really? That's amazing. Tell me the story. I want to hear.
Do you do tours at the distillery?
Pardon me?
Do you do tours at the distillery?
Oh yeah, Hacienda de Oro. Yes. It's a place that you can visit, and it's interesting. The NOM 1522 has been working on having these great, the high quality tequilas, and maybe 18 months ago, we were in the Tequila Matchmaker app. The distillery was in place for 18 months ago. Right now, we are in the place 21. We're just one place away to be in the top 20 distilleries. But what it is more important is not being the 21, is that we move more than 20 places in less than 18 months, because there are so many brands working the things there that are in an amazing way. There is Quintaliza, Elevación 1250, Entremanos, Dos Ángeles Caídos, which other, Four Copas. So there is high quality tequilas that are proving how great tequila can we make in 1522. And each one of us is giving their own personality to the brand, right? Because one thing is we as a family are doing great, but individually we're doing our own effort to be differentiated in the market, so the people don't say, oh, all the tequilas from 1522 taste the same. No, we're focusing on that. Hey, let's pull up the NOM, but let's prove that we can give different expression and different experiences to the people, depending on which brand you are tasting from 1522.
All right, Alan, I got one for you, because I know that you deal with this side of the business. When you go into Canada?
Oh, I've been receiving so much requests from Canada. Actually, last week, I think I received like maybe 5 or 6 from Edmonton and from Alberta, and also for BC. We're not sure yet. We actually just got yesterday the trademark for Entremanos in Canada, just yesterday. Actually, I think I have it right here. So that means we're a step closer to that, but maybe not next year, maybe the end of next year, depending on in the US and how we establish our hopes, because it's the first. This is actually the first crazy year we ever had, because the first two were hard but easy to go on, and now it's getting a little bit crazier, which is we all like, but we have to bear ourselves and not try to I don't know how to say in English, but in Spanish we said to eat the whole world. So Canada, yesterday we got the Marca de Comercio trademark of Entremanos yesterday in Canada. So that's good news. So maybe soon enough.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure. Let's see who asked that question. I'm trying to remember now. Oh, Adam. Adam will probably be very excited about that.
Perfect.
I guess for now, you got to travel to U.S. or Mexico and transport some back.
Or Spain. Spain. They can also go to Spain.
And if you could get a lot number 1 from Entremanos in Spain, that's a gem. That's really nice. I have 3 cases.
I have it here. This is what I have left. No, I have like other 5. I have like other 5 bottles in the downstairs. But batch 1 maybe it's because it's like the first kit, right? It creates so many emotions and some not all completely understanding and everything that it is amazing. It is amazing.
I always got mine over there.
Yeah, that one is only in Spain, so go to Madrid and enjoy a couple of days there and have a lot of Entremanos.
I was talking to Alan a few months back about the tequila and stuff like that, and he was saying something about how amazing lot 4 was, and
5,
and now I mean here I got 5 with me, and I couldn't imagine.
No, lot 5 for me now. It's like it's just smooth. It's creamy. It's it's because of those 9 days on the tank. It was just a little bit of malolactic notes. For me, I know that's not for everyone. Not a lot of people enjoy the malolactic notes on a tequila, but for me, it just reminds me of a nice cotija cheese, which is something I really like. But it's something maybe a lot of people don't want on the tequila. Like, no, I want plants, I want citrusness. So for me, that little hint of malolactic, for me, it's just it's sweet. It's good, and with a nice Spanish ham, that's always good.
Man,
now that you mentioned Cotija, Alan, Cotija is a city. Yes, it's a city in Michoacán, and what it is important about that city is that they have 3 appellations of origin. There are only 3 municipalities in all the country that have 3 appellations of origin. In Cotija, you can make cheese, Cotija cheese. You can make mezcal, and you can also make tequila. Mm-hmm. So it's a super interesting point in Michoacán.
Yeah, and you're the number 1 tequila distillery in Michoacán.
No, there's not that much tequila. What they are doing is growing agave, but they are not making any tequila. They are focusing on cheese. It's super famous.
Yeah,
it's a super famous Mexican cheese.
It's the one we put on the chilaquiles and everything.
Enchiladas, chilaquiles, tacos,
whatever. Yeah,
I'm going to dinner, guys.
I'll be right there.
I'm hungry.
All right, guys. Jimmy, you're quiet. You okay?
I'm perfectly fine. I'm just trying to make a summarize in my mind to answer Alan, okay? Because it's a super interesting story. I'm going to say the most important parts of what Alan mentioned about the Vino Mezcal in Amatitan. When you go visit Caballito Cerrero, they have a really old distillery, and they say that the first time that tequila was made in the region was in Amatitan. So basically what they are saying is that the origin of tequila, it is Amatitan. It is a nice picture, but it is not the real picture because that is not completely true, or it is not true depending on how you see it. And I'm going to try to explain this.
Because Vino Mezcal is so broad.
What happened is that the origin of what we can call Vino Mezcal today, it was between the south of Jalisco, next to the coast, and the state of Colima, which is the state next to Jalisco. So between Colima and the south of Jalisco, that's the first place where we have evidence that somebody did something called Vino Mezcal. And that's what, because they were making, the region was very popular making something called Vino de Cocos, okay? Vino de Cocos is something that we in Mexico learned from the Philippines that came in the Spaniard boats. They came to Mexico, and what they were doing here in Mexico was Vino de Cocos, which is coconut wine. The translation is like,
it's more like, but actually it's not coconut, it's palm.
The palm tree. The palm tree,
yeah.
But they call it Vino de Cocos. So when they were making Vino de Cocos, they were doing this fermentation process, which creates something that it is called tuba, and they take the tuba, and the tuba you distill the tuba, and the result of the distillation of tuba, it is called Vino de Cocos. So when you are taking tuba as the first step of your distillation to get Vino de Cocos, then they realized that there was somebody making a fermented beverage with agave that they call mezcal. The origin of the word mezcal, it's meticulously, and meticulously means roasted agave. So what they were doing was roasting the agave, and after the roasting of the agave, extracting the juice, fermenting the liquid, and this fermented liquid, somebody said, hey, why don't we take it and put it in this little machine that you bring from Philippines to do the distillation of Vino de Cocos. So they took this fermented agave juice, they put it inside of the Philippine still, and the result, they say, how are we gonna call it? If we're making Vino de Cocos from the coconut, from the palm tree, what happens if we do it with the mezcal, with the meticulously? Then we're gonna call it Vino Mezcal. That's why they call it Vino Mezcal, because they were using the similarity to Vino de Cocos. Then, this Vino Mezcal from the south of Jalisco and Colima begin to move inside of the country, and some of this knowledge about how to manage the fermentation and the distillation of the agave moved to the south and got to Oaxaca, to what we know today as mezcal. And it also moved to the northwest part of the country, to the area surrounding what we, the area of tequila, to what we call today tequila. But the origin of mezcal and tequila is pretty much the same. It's the Vino Mezcal that was the knowledge learned from how do you make Vino de Cocos. And that was coming directly from the Philippines, okay? So when you get to when you analyze how the movement of the knowledge of distillation was going through the country, the first time that the distillation of the meticulously was done in the region, it's very probable that the first place that got it inside of the main region of tequila producers now, it was in Amatitan. So the first time that Vino Mezcal was made in the region was in Amatitan before tequila. That's for sure, in the region. But Vino Mezcal, the invention of Vino Mezcal was not in Amatitan. It was part of the movement from the beginning of what we call the south of Jalisco and the Colima region. So Amatitan is not the place where they created. They just were in the path, and that was one of the stops in the path. But what happened is that this keeps moving. It goes all the way to Nayarit, all the way even to Sinaloa, all the way even to Sonora. That's why in Sonora you have bacanoras. But in tequila, what happened is that they begin to industrialize the product, and it became famous. So they will say, what is this? Oh, this is Vino Mezcal from tequila. Because the town already was called Tequila. So it was Vino Mezcal from tequila. Then they remove the word mezcal, and they just call it Vino de Tequila. And at the end, they just refer to the product as a tequila. So the first time that tequila was made was in tequila. That's as simple as that. There's no question about it, because tequila is the place where it was being made, and that's why they call it tequila. That's it. What we're doing in Amatitan, they were not making tequila. They were making
vino
vino
mezcal.
mezcal. But before Amatitan, there were many more places next to the volcano, the Colima volcano, making also vino mezcal. So yeah, vino mezcal was made before in Amatitan than in Tequila, but there's other places before Amatitan. But the first time that tequila was made was in Tequila, because the name Tequila is referring to the place where it was being made and it was being commercialized and it was becoming famous. No, so that's how I can explain all of this topic, which is super for me super exciting, about the real origin of vino mezcal, and if it was Amatitan or it was in tequila. No, the origin of tequila was tequila, because the name says it itself. Who distilled before, Amatitan or tequila? Probably, and I will say that my bet will be that who distilled before in the region, Amatitan. Yes, maybe there's no question. But they didn't make tequila. They made vino mezcal.
Vino mezcal.
The first time that somebody did tequila was tequila.
That's why I never get into an argument with Jimmy.
Yeah.
So what's your earliest childhood memory with your grandfather and your
I have so many. Maybe it's not the oldest, but I can tell you a couple of them that are very, very funny. One of them is that he didn't got a distillery. What he got was land for growing agaves from his father, but he didn't got any distillery. And he worked for some years to his cousin, Francisco Javier, the last owner of Tequila Sauza. He worked for him and with him in different projects, but he never owned a distillery. He just owned the land. And what we have right now in the family, we'll still keep it. We have mangoes, we have ciruelas, we have lemons, and some parts we have agaves. And all of this is part of the heritage from my grandfather. But something funny that happened once is that he was known in Guadalajara as a member of a tequila producer's family. So when he had a business in right downtown in Guadalajara. So many people say, "Hey, Alfonso, bring me some tequila when you go to Tequila." So he used to take these 20-liter containers, glass containers from Tequila to his store in Guadalajara to sell the tequila. But he was just commercializing. He was not producing. He was just commercializing. Where did he got the tequila? I don't remember. He told me, but he was bringing tequila from Guadalajara. From Tequila to Guadalajara. And one day, what happened that somebody say, Alfonso. Alfonso was the name of my grandfather. I am also Alfonso. I am Jaime, which is Jimmy. Jaime Alfonso. My second name, it is like my grandfather Alfonso, because of him. And he was bringing tequila, and somebody got to do his store in Guadalajara and say, "Hey, Alfonso, I need 2 garrafones." I don't know how you call it. This is a 20 liters container. I need 2 garrafones, one blanco and one reposado. And he was like, "Oh my God, I don't have reposado." But he knew a trick. If you take in 20 liters, if you take a Coca-Cola and then you open it and you pour it inside of the 20 liters of tequila, it looks like a really nice reposado. So what he did is like, "Oh my God, I only have 2 blanco. This guy has the urgency to buy me 2 garrafones. I only have 2 blanco." So he opened a Coca-Cola. He fill it up in the second garrafon, and he thought, "Okay, for this one is 1,000 pesos, and this one is 1,500 pesos." No.
And all you did was added Coca-Cola.
Yeah. So he charged more for the second one, and the only thing that he did is adding a Coca-Cola inside of the second one. That was before CRT, okay? Let's mention that this was before the CRT and maybe before the appellation of origin. And many people tell me, Jimmy, don't tell that story. Oh, come on, it's so funny. It's part of my story. It's what my grandfather really did. So it's amazing. Imagine him pouring a Coca-Cola to transform a Blanco into reposado and mixing it. And the people paying for him, like, this is a reposado. I'm paying for a reposado when it's a Blanco with a Coke, no? Yeah, that's an amazing story that he told me that story, and it was super, super fun.
Guys, I can't thank you enough. Jimmy, Alan, I really hope I can get you back on here again. I enjoy the stories. I love to hear the family stories, more of the family stories. I love what you guys are doing. I really hope that, we can hook up when I'm down there in February and visit the distillery and have a drink with both of you guys. It would be amazing, and it would be truly an honor of mine. But my session is going to shut off here because, sorry,
I
Jimmy.
told you. I give you heads up on this one. I told you, if you want to bring Jimmy, and they didn't mention, I didn't confirm to CJ that you were coming. For me, it was like, oh, Jimmy, can you? Yeah, I can, but I never confirmed to CJ.
Okay, CJ, let's make another call, because you need to listen to you need to know the story about my grandfather with dynamite. So that's also a funny one. It's a funny one.
Part two.
Yeah, that's for part 2. And yeah, anytime you want me to talk about different topics. I just was in LA giving a speech, which was very interesting, called Analyzing the Analysis. And it is a chemical analysis from the CRT. And I explain every single thing that they are analyzing, but also explaining what's the origin of each thing of what they are analyzing. I mean, if they're talking about furfurols, okay, where are they analyzing furfurols? And what?
Jimmy, that's for part 2.
And what the origin of furfurols? No? Aldehydes, esters, superior alcohols, what they give, how do they produce, how do they concentrate, what they analyze it. So that's one of the speeches that I gave recently. Stories about family stories. Well, my dad and I made this book, which is called Sauza, Lineaje and Leyenda, Lineage and Legends from a family that created an industry. I did it with my dad, and there's a lot of stories here. So yeah, let's talk anytime you want. I will be really pleased to do this again with you as many times as you want.
Yes, absolutely. It's been entertaining. It's been educational.
Always with Jimmy.
Yes. I can't imagine. I'm going to have to block out a whole day to come down there and see you, Jimmy.
We have a ranch. We have a ranch in the heroical. I call it the heroical ranch of San Martín de las Cañas, which is what we received from my father. My grandfather. And I was there this last Saturday. Let me show you the picture that I took this last Saturday. Actually, it's in my Instagram. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
So this is the place that I have. This was part of the Cuervo family, and then the Cuervo family sold it to the Sauza family. These are our agaves. This is the Sierra, and then you have the river at the bottom of the Sierra. You have the river Santiago, and all of this is where the ciruelas, mangoes, and lemons are. So yeah, this is a place where you can sit down and take a tequila or 2 or 25 and enjoy a really nice day. So feel welcome anytime you come. This is your house. This is your ranch. We are we're here to make you feel as welcome as you want, as you deserve, and anybody else that want to come also feel free to do it. No. We will love to have any one of you visiting us here.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Jimmy, we'll be talking soon. Alan, I hope you can join us when I do come down.
Of course.
I want to see the distillery, and I'd love to see the ranch.
Perfect.
You will see it. You will see it, CJ.
Awesome.
No, I won't call it CJ. I will call you
Zenobia Jr.
Zenobia Jr. I love that one, Alan. I love that one.
I love that. I love it.
It's a good one.
All right, guys. I'm going to close this up if you guys hang with me for 2 seconds, because that's
sure.
about all we have left.
Okay. 1, 2.
And thank you guys for joining. All the questions. This has been an amazing event. You know, I haven't seen so many questions come in, and hopefully I got the bulk of everybody's questions answered by either Jimmy or Alan. So we'll see you soon. I think I got another one coming up this week. So stay tuned.